and tremolo all share certain characteristics, or in the way they work. They all use what's called an LFO signal, a low frequency oscillator. And this is like, just briefly, partly because I don't understand it that much, but I'll explain to you as much as I understand. I mean, sound is in waves. You've probably heard. So, when a sound comes, it comes like that. And, the height is I think the amplitude, the distance is the frequency. And, so if it's a long wave, it's a low frequency. If it's a short wave, it's a high frequency. I could be completely wrong, but that's more or less the concept. In modulation pedals, they're putting out a low frequency oscillator, but you're not hearing any sound off it. That sound, what that oscillator is doing is modulating the stuff that's going on in the pedal. And all those kind of pedals use it in one way or the other. Now, because they're so close, I have to go to my notes so I get this right. We'll start with let's start with the tremolo. In an amplifier, this hummingbird is a very specific kind of tremolo, but it's not your standard amp sound tremolo. So in an amp tremolo, I believe there's a tube in there that runs it, and I think there's a photoelectric. In some of these, there's a light that is making, as opposed to an LFO, that is making the volume go up and down. Now this is another point of confusion that Fender has perpetrated for decades. Vibrato and tremolo are not the same thing, and most of the time Fender has it backwards. Vibrato is pitch shifting, tremolo is volume shifting. So this thing is not a tremolo arm, it is a vibrato arm because it's shifting your pitch. This is not a vibrato, contrary to what it says on the switch. It is a tremolo because it's shifting your volume. So that's what it basically is doing. It's making the volume go louder and softer. And then the speed knob determines how quickly that happens. And thank God it's come back in fashion. I mean, because it's just such a great sound. Especially with reverb. My wife, who knows nothing about guitar, I put on Twain Eddy and she goes crazy. She loves it. Huh?
In a good way?
Oh yeah, she loves it. So that's basically what a tremolo is doing. Now that's the classic use of tremolo. I mean, we've all heard it in a number of situations. Standard Fender reverb, anything over 3 is swamp. That kind of stuff. But that's really only one way to use tremolo. I mean, tremolo, there are other kinds of tremolo which get more extreme. I think this is based more on Vox tremolo, this hummingbird, which worked, it's been a long time since I wrote the book, but there's two, they work differently, the Vox and the Fender, but the Vox tends to be choppier. So, I mean, this one sounds even choppier than those Voxes. But you can hear, it's getting much quieter. So you get that choppy. Plus, there's also the waveform. This is using an LFO, and those waveforms can vary. You'll find tremolos that allow you to choose different waveforms. A sine wave goes very curvy like this, and that's more what you're hearing here. There's like triangle waves that sort of go up like an actual wave, boom, boom, and that gets a little choppier. more extreme, and I think that's more what a Vox type thing is. Ampeg tremolos are a really cool tremolo. But this is pretty extreme. And then square waves are like and are really choppy. This even sounds closer to me to a square wave, but it's a fine line between the square and tremolo. Now, I don't know if anybody's familiar with a guitar player, Osnoy. If you're not, you really should be. Check him out online. He's this crazy Israeli who is just mind-bogglingly good. But aside from being, you know, a cross between Jeff Beck and Mike Stern in terms of technique, he also knows effects inside out. And I mean, he'll be playing like rhythm and go. But I mean, he's got it coordinated in a way I don't, where it's just on specific notes, and he can turn it on and turn it off in conjunction. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time, but he can turn it on in conjunction with his playing in a way that's really cool. Or as I was demonstrating before, you can get like synth sequencer type. If you get really sort of extreme. Sometimes that's called slicing, like a slicing effect, because it's actually, it's more than even a synthesizer. It's an effect that was developed in a recording studio. That's where Oz heard it and decided he liked it, where you would take a track and actually literally go in and cut the volume out in, you know, in certain rhythmic intervals, and then copy and paste that all through the track. So you're basically completely eliminating the sound in those, and guys were using that. It's called sometimes glitching or glitch effects, but it's become a real big part of music, and he got into that. So he wanted to be able to do it live with the guitar. Get some really. I have a tremolo that will do that. Will also slow down when I step on a button.
Your mic's out.
Oh, it is?